So you guys have addressed a lot of needs up and down the roster. You talk about that?
Yeah, we have. We started off with the first pick in the fourth round today and selected Ian Thomas, who we think is can be a complete tight end. He's got all the skill sets. He's got a lot of potential, and he needs experience, and he's going to be a work in progress. But he's got all the tools, and we think he's a very good player. We think that the guy think he can block. He's got the ability to catch the ball extremely well, and he's got the ability to go downfield. So he's really got all the skill set for a complete tight end. And then the second pick, we traded up to get Marquise Haynes, who is listed as outside linebacker at Mississippi. He's played a lot with his hand down. He's just flat out speed off the edge, and he can get to the quarterback, and we just thought that he was good enough to make that trade up for. And then our last pick here, we took Jermaine Carter from Maryland, who can play inside linebacker. We think he can probably play well as well. High motor, physical guy, just a very good football player. So you're right, Steve. We think we helped address some needs.
So is Haynes an end?
Yes, he'll play defensive end, come in and start out in that position for us. There's something I know you guys have heard us talk about, and that was what we call the joker position, a guy that can do a couple of different things as well. And again, with his athleticism, his ability that he's shown to drop into coverage at times, we think that's where he can fit. He'll be a situational pass rusher for us, a guy that we'll have opportunities to in certain situations, circumstances, obviously. But with that joker package, it's something that we've talked about since Sean's been here, and Steve, followed up on it last year, and it's something Eric's looking at as well. So he's a guy that's got some abilities that's going to add a little dimension to what we want to do.
So do you want him to gain some weight, or is he fine for the joker position?
The guy will come in and play where he is. We're not going to force anything on him. His greatest asset as an athlete is his speed off the ball. Got a great first step. He's explosive. He gets vertical very quickly. And then he's got an array of pass rush moves that we think we can exploit with this young man. And we also feel we can move him around. He doesn't have to line up as a defensive end per se. We think there's some flexibility with this guy. There's some things that we feel really good about him.
How do you compare to Mario, I guess?
That's exactly what we looked at, and we said this is a guy that compares very favorable to Mario. In fact, I showed Marty my write-up this morning because we had the first pick and we had time to talk about this, and I showed Mario my write-ups on him, and one of the lines that I put is he's got upside and favors Mario.
Marty, you had talked a lot about speed. A couple more of these guys today, very fast athletes. Was it something you saw last year during the course of the season that made you convinced that you wanted to go this route across the board?
Well, I've always believed. I think that you can't teach speed, and I think that that's a big part of this game. And again, you have to be big and you have to be physical, but you also have to be fast. And I think coming into this offseason, that was one of our general goals, was to add speed to positions, especially the skill positions. And when you get guys like that, guys who play fast, it's something you just can't coach.
For either of you guys, just as a follow-up, and you were kind of asked this yesterday, but was it in response at all to, if not the Saints, all of them?
Across the board, the division basically, and it was a good question yesterday, and I thought it was a good answer too, but no, but it really was a good question, because some of the things that you have to do is you've got to look at your division. I mean, to get into the playoffs, you got to win your division. Whether you win it at 7-8-1 or you win it at 15-1, you have to win your division. And so when you compare those teams that are in our division and with what they have, we most certainly got to be able to match up with those guys across the board. We saw that with the defensive back position, again, going out and doing what we did with the two young men we brought in. Both guys are quick. Both guys have some foot speeds. Both guys, I think, can add something to what we want to do defensively. Look what we needed to do with the D-line. We wanted an explosive guy with some juice, and we went out and felt we addressed that need. And then at linebacker, we needed a young, dynamic guy to come in and be part of what we want to do and be a special teamer as well. So we think we filled some more needs today. I thought that was a great way to open it up by asking that question, Steve. So we felt we feel really good about filling these needs.
The way The way that y'all have drafted thus far sends a little bit of a message about the comfort level you have in the state of your offensive line currently. What do you guys feel is going to happen at that left guard position moving forward? Obviously bringing Searles in, but
I think there's going to be a tremendous amount of competition. I really do. You know, the one thing I don't think anybody should feel is comfortable with their opportunities. I think they need to step up and take advantage of their opportunities. And believe me, I feel the same way for myself. I feel, you know, we've got to continue to take another step as a football team, and that's on me. It starts with me and the coaches and down to the players. So competition is good, and that's what we want from that, Jordan, is that these guys have got to step up. We got a young group of guys that show some flashes of ability, but now we want to see it in action and give everyone an opportunity. I mean, Coach Masters is going to mix a different variety group of guys out there every day, and we're going to play the best player.
Is your replacement for Andrew Norwell on the current roster?
Potentially, we think so. I mean, again, we think Taylor is a solid football player. That's why we drafted him. Big physical guy. We like what Tyler brings to the table. Tyler actually came to us as a guard. Just so happened that he had some center ability. Greg Van Rotten is another guy that's played center guard for us, a guy that may get some opportunities as well. Amini Sulatola is a guy that we brought in, drafted, played the left guard, started until he got hurt, and then Andrew came in, and Andrew's, you know, he was a stalwart there for us for a long, long time. Blaine Clausell is another young guy that we think has got an opportunity. So, and the draft's not over. It's not over. So, and we'll see what happens.
And, you know, from a personnel standpoint, you're always looking at all avenues, so it doesn't stop after the draft. I mean, we're still going to look for ways to upgrade our team if we think that we can do that. So I tell Ron all the time, you know, training camp's not until the end of July, so it's, you know, it's just a fluid process.
With that said, Marty, and barring anything late here, but it doesn't look like anything in the running back position.
Yeah, not so far. And again, that's something that obviously we keep looking at and we'll continue to look at. But you know, it's just every draft is different, and they all break different ways. And I think we feel very, very happy with the way this one broke so far. So, but again, this is just because the draft ends. We continue to look at all positions, and anything we can do to help upgrade our team, we will do.
I know you're not going to anoint anybody here in April, but what does it say about Cameron Artis-Payne's chances?
That he has an opportunity. Exactly that, Joe. He'll have that. I mean, just like last year, a lot of people thought he was on the bubble, and he proved to us that he deserves to get that opportunity. I mean, it was sparingly last year. I wish we had played him more, but he will get one of the first cracks at it to be part of that rotation, and we'll see how he handles it.
Yesterday about the swagger, how much was that part of the process beyond height, weight, speed, and all the other intangibles? How much was swagger you were looking at that?
Well, I think on the defensive side, it was something that was that most certainly you do look at, especially with defensive backs, and we feel there's a couple of guys that have that. We think that these guys can come in and bring a little attitude. I mean, you want that from your team, and you want to be able to, you know, be one of those teams that guys think about who they're playing against. And I think that's a very good thing for us. And I'm pretty excited about these young guys coming in to compete. I mean, I do mean it. You guys have mentioned it. You know, Jordan mentioned it. It's about competition. I mean, we're going to have to compete, and we're going to play the best guys.
Marty, I know you said Ian Thomas is a bit of a work in progress, but do you think he's got the mental and physical makeup to come in and contribute right away?
Definitely. And I guess, you know, and I'm glad you asked that because I want to clarify that. He definitely has the abilities to come and contribute right away, but we think he has got a very high upside.
Were there other teams calling to try and trade into that first spot today?
They did. We got a couple, and one of them, I guess, that texted Texas right after and said, "Well, we don't have to look to trade up anymore." So I guess they were looking to trade up to take Ian. So.
Was that who you had in mind yesterday when you made the deal, Marty?
We came in this morning knowing that we were probably going to stick and take Ian. Yes.
What did you guys talk to him about his background? He's been through a hell of a lot as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you get to know him. He's a great kid, and it's this is extremely important to him. And that's one of the things you really like about him is he hasn't taken really even the traditional path in college, and he got to Indiana I think a week before their training camp started a couple years ago. So you know, he's got all the skill set and with more experience and more time, we think he's going to be very, very good.
No, I agree with what Marty said. I mean, again, anybody that goes through the things he goes through and really gets to where he is at the last minute, here's your opportunity, is taking advantage of it. And the exciting thing about it is you do see the potential for growth. But it's not a shallow potential because you see the athleticism, you see the skill sets. And you know, it's one of the things that Marty always talks about is that, you know, as scouts, they're looking at skill sets. And then as coaches, you see that you hear about the skill sets, now you say, okay, do they fit what we do? Well, this young man has the ability to fit into what we do. And I'm excited because, you know, I don't know if you guys got to see, but the highlights they put up there, you know, I thought were really epitomized why we took him. You saw him make the catches. You saw him with a good catch radius. You saw him catch the ball over the top. You know, you saw the one block that he made. I mean, this is a guy that can do it all. It's going to be a work in progress, obviously, but if he's as dedicated as he was at Indiana, we feel pretty good about it.
Some people have compared him to Gates, who you've
Yes.
been around in San Diego. You agree with that, or is that?
Body type, yes, it looks the part. He's a physical guy. He catches the ball pretty well in traffic, and he has good speed, good vertical speed. Which, and I think one of the comments they talked about was how important that is in what Norv wants to do. Is, you know, you want to be able to use two tight ends and stretch the field. And you know, with Greg's ability to get vertical and get open, you throw another tight into the mix that does it. Now, I think you've just helped your quarterback and you've helped your offense.
Marty mentioned Carter briefly, but as a linebacker, Ron, what do you see in form of?
I see a guy that's got good quickness, good first step quickness, plays laterally very well. He played in a defense that was okay. You know, they were a young team that was still growing, so he had to do a lot of work on his own. And I don't want to take any shots at any young players, but one thing he does plays with great leverage. He's not real tall. He's 6'1". He's explosive when he gets into contact. He extends his hands very nicely. He works the shed quickly. One thing that I was a little concerned is that he will get engulfed by a bigger offensive lineman, so he's got to make sure he keeps those hands off him. One thing he does very well is he defeats the blocker, then locates the ball as opposed to playing with his eyes in the backfield, which I think is important. I like his downhill step. I think he plays towards the line of scrimmage as much as he can. Good zone awareness, good zone dropper. He's got the quickness to run with the tight ends when they try to stretch the field through the middle of the seam.
Like to add a backup.
Yeah.
When you went around there.
Oh,
Would
yeah.
you guys like to add a backup, a veteran backup quarterback, whether it's DA or somebody else?
Again, that's another thing I think that, you know, along with some other positions, we just keep working through at this point.